to another episode of the horrid, despicable apocalypse. I know none of you will see this, for you all, I'm sure, are fattened and in sleepy dreamland, full of 25% less Walmart turkey. But fuck it! I'll do it anyway. Congratulations, by the way, for choosing the apocalypse. Since you have unwisely chosen the apocalypse, you are in urgent need of a guide. Unfortunately for me, I happen to be that guide, your humble guide, Nicholas. So good to see you again. Let us just go right into it. I got a little bit on Leon tonight. I've been kind of letting him slide for a while. I haven't been keeping track of every little fucking evil proclamation he makes. As if he isn't responsible for the death of thousands. Thousands, if not millions. How many farms lost contracts because of this fat, entitled welfare queen? Very serious stuff. I saw reports of people that deal with farms saying she had 15 suicides on her hands recently. This was months ago. So Leon jumping on the Reichstag fire moment. And this person is commenting on it. Weird you never see these type of statements after a school shooting. Wonder what the difference there is. Well, the Reich doesn't give a fuck about school shootings. Second Amendment idiocy and that whole thing helped us get to this point. The KGB and everybody, Leon, all the evil people used it against the rubes, and they leaving the guns on the shelf as their country is being military taken over, because they want a king as long as it's their king. That's why they've never believed in anything their entire life. Every sentence they've ever spouted about this paradigm we find ourselves in. Worthless, goddamn nothing. Their every breath, nothing. Just, where's the team telling me to go? Because I've been talking abject shit for like 30 years that, the government better not do nothing. Because that's what the Second Amendment's for, right? That's the type shit you heard on every broadcast. Every tough guy that came along. Anyway. So, Leon, my deepest condolences to the families of the 2 National Guardsmen who were murdered in cold blood today. How many innocent people dying does it take to reform our broken system? Now, I know Leon's evil and a Nazi, so something like this is expected, but I know some things about this event now that I've looked into it a little more. And this statement by Leon bothers me. Makes me lean more to what I think is going on. And Leon never cares about anything else. He didn't care about starving children, third world peasants. None of it. And I know Jesus people. Or excuse me, people that pretend to be Jesus people. I have to be accurate with this shit. I don't like broad brushing. Unless it's MAGA. Because that was written of. And it's going to be the end of our country. It's already over. It's been over for, what, 8, 9 months? Last president, Joe Biden. All we got now is a traitor and a con man. Thanks to you. And you know who you are. Leon jumping on it, politicizing it. Why? What have I keep telling you about Leon? Even though Leon's not in the White House as co-chancellor anymore, he's still been wanting to build this Reich his entire life. Utopia. I watched Blade Runner 2049 a little bit of again today. That type of utopia. New bodies, clones, consciousness shifting. What did Greasy Pete call it? I can't remember right now. Forgive me, people. I've been sick as hell for days, so if I don't seem right, that's why. What's that called again? I can't even remember. I've talked about it 50 million times. That's how much this illness fucked me up. Transhumanism. There we go. Greasy Pete's all into it. And he doesn't want pussy transhumanism. He wants whole new body. You just put my mind in there. And I get to be what I want to be, whatever that is. I don't know what Pete wants to be. His utopia of surveillance of Nazism, because that's where Pete grew up, in Nazi white South Africa. So Leon, Pete, they trying to build a Reich. They don't have to be in the White House to do that. That's why you get statements like this. And son, this is abject evil. Because it's for a purpose he doesn't actually care. It's for a political outcome that he's looking for, called Nazism, a Reich. Round people up, execute them. Like the old Reich. Same thing. What, you think they're different? Do you really think that? They're special Nazis that don't want to gas people? Morons? Again, people of this world, let me say this to the entire world that will never see this. You don't know me. I wouldn't have been here 10 years unless it's that dire, son. I didn't get rich and famous off this bullshit. I could do a 4-hour video on what did happen, though. But I'd rather not. What's the goddamn point? It's all over anyway. Again, our own troops, and part of that idea, Greasy Pete Thale, Leon Scum, Donnie Shitbags, deployed against you and me. I don't care what city it's in. I don't care what state it's in. I take it personal, son. Because I know what it is. They had no right to deploy the military in any of these cities. You listen to Donnie Shitbags, the goddamn Antichrist. Make up complete fantasies about burnt down cities as if he's Hitler talking about the Reichstag fire. Straight up, right out the diaper, handful of shit, puts before all of us every day, and no one does nothing about it. When you have an American president saying cities are on fire when they're not on fucking fire, that's impeachment time. And every fucking cunt that's gone along with this for 10 years, it's all going to the abyss thanks to you. That is guaranteed. That is inevitable. Like Mr. Smith, or excuse me, Agent Smith in the fucking Matrix. It's inevitable, son. Yep. For fucking eons, since the beginning of time, People have been trying to make this happen. It's the same thing every time. It's a consistent pattern throughout history. Some fucking abject sociopath rises up, usually by nefarious means. A lot of them are traitors to their own nations and somehow get the reins of fucking power because they're just pure ambitious sociopaths. Nothing else matters. But I must be in charge. No one's in charge at the lake, son. And that's as real as the Reich you're building. How do I know for certain? You. You showed me that you fit the criteria. I didn't want you to, son. It's quite depressing, actually. When all we have to look forward in this world in the next 5 years is more and more crackdowns, a goddamn 1984 police state world. People being killed for whatever the whims of the dictator are. It always goes there, son. Always. Inevitable. Guaranteed. Since the beginning of time, again, people have gone to the ballot box, whatever that, it could have been a stone in caveman days. Doesn't matter. It was always there. Who's going to be in charge? Since the beginning of time, people, humans everywhere across the world have put their name on abject evil and put it in power. And they do it over and over and over and over. And there's no personal consequences. What I've been saying since January and before that, the bill is due. Back to my original thought, now that I've rambled through my sick mind. You don't know me, world. Not by a damn sight. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't that serious. If the bill wasn't really due. I'm sorry I didn't ask for it. You did, son. It really comes down to this. We all, as individuals, since the beginning of time, we will choose to go along with the Reich or not. We will choose to go along with the devil. We will choose whether we are in the lake or not. We choose that by our path that we choose. We have free will. God wants us to have faith. Maybe that's why he doesn't manifest. Because if revealed, how will he know who really loves him? I'm not even saying, people, I'm going to be dead honest with you right here. I'm not going to lie to you and say I wake up every morning, I just love God, blah, 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 blah. When I think of what I've gone through in my life, and I haven't had, I'm not from a third world country and shit. But man, some fucked up shit, son. That came at me as if they were demons through a dimensional wall that could open anywhere and get me. Got me many times. And they want me real bad. Whoever they is. the imp, his people, whatever. And it's fucking pathetically obvious. I'm not going to sit here and cite 100 examples. Again, what's the point? The bill is due this time, son, and I wasn't even planning on saying that. But, you know, maybe something gives me the words. Who knows? Because most people need a goddamn teleprompter to ever get on camera and not sound like complete morons. Okay, this is Leon again. And here we go. With just like Adolf Hitler, we got to make the concept of fascism, if you don't like it, we got to make that illegal. If you don't love having a king, if you don't want an emperor dictator for the rest of your life and no elections and no democracy, everything this country was founded on, then you're evil. What's that called, class, again? Inversion of reality. That's simple. Nothing else. Who's the father of that? Of lies? The devil. That's the devil that does that. That's his forte. Vlad Putin's forte. Adolf Hitler's forte. Point the finger at the other. Blame them for what you're doing. You know, like the Pizzagate thing. Look at you all now as Donnie's ties to Epstein and the little children's get more exposed by the second. Where the fuck you people at? That's gonna cost you, son. Lest you repent of it. You helped build this. Mr. Kirk helped build this. The gun culture, the Second Amendment. And no, it wasn't the liberals that killed Mr. Kirk. I'm sorry. The transgender roommate conveniently disappeared. I really wanted to meet him. I was waiting for that moment, boy. Here we go with the straight Hitler move. Falsely labeling nonviolent people as fascist or Nazi should be treated as incitement to murder. They staged a coup against this country. Most of the people call fascists. Leon wasn't part of the government at that moment. But I'm wondering if he helped out. So now, falsely labeling nonviolent, what's nonviolent about you people? You say if someone walks on my front lawn, I have the right to kill them, murder them. And then you go to church on Sunday. Don't step on the corner of my lawn. I wasn't planning on saying that either. And I have a story later. That is just so America, son. And it happened to a bunch of guys, and I don't hate them. I actually have respect for them. I dig their music. But they were into the Confederate flags and shit like that, and we know what that is. I didn't know as a child what that was. Dukes of Hazzard and shit. I loved it. Bo and Luke, the orange car. Loved it. And I ain't even from the country, son. Great show. But I was a kid, not understanding what I was looking at. I'm looking at a Confederate flag that glorifies the Civil War. Traitors tried to overthrow our nation so they could keep people from the third world as slaves here for free. When they still would have been rich if they paid people to pick their damn food and cotton and all that. My personal opinion on that is it's some type of curse, possibly, for what the white man did, the new Americans did, to the natives. I wonder if that has something to do with it. A kind of karmic penalty where, well, now that you've slaughtered the indigenous people, now that you've built this empire that's worth something, now you're going to kill each other over it. Kind of karmic, man. Nonviolent people again. The right wing in this country loves intimidation, threats. Margie Green loved it until Donnie called her a traitor, and all of a sudden she getting phone calls. Now Margie's starting to see what MAGA's like. When she did all that stuff, the tactics that woman used, my God. Naught but scum. Don't buy the recent change. But back to this. I keep going on this other bullshit. We keep hearing this theme repeated. And my God, it's just so Hitler-esque, Nazi-esque inversion of reality. The right wing, including Donald Trump, the majority of them, staged a coup. We had podcasters like Alex Jones fund it. We had Publix heiresses funded it. We had fucking judges' wives funding it. One political party tried to take over America and make a dictatorship. Now they're finishing the job, thanks to the rubes and the greedy at the top. It's that simple. Over the second you gave the keys back. And this theme again repeated. If you don't like fascism, well, there's something wrong with you. If you don't like Nazi, there's something wrong with you. Now you're inciting murder. No, it's quite the opposite, son. You fat Special K addict. Worthless, just goddamn waste of oxygen. Biggest welfare queen ever in the history of mankind. Whose baby mamas have to contact him live on social media. Because once he does whatever they do, because I don't even know if sex is involved. That's how weird this fucker is. She gets pregnant. He deals with them for a minute, and then they don't hear from him. The richest man in the world, son, do you hear me? For a few years now. Richest man in the world. The greediest, fattest cunt. Has his baby mamas contacting him publicly on social media because that's the only way they get a response. That's who we're talking about. We're talking about the Nazi salute guy, Leon, and let's not pretend it wasn't a Nazi salute. Even Nick Fuentes, one of your own Nazi peers, says it was a straight up Roman salute. And I know the Nazi salute is based on the Roman salute, and Nick knows that too. Nick Fuentes, the actual Nazi, with the name Fuentes. Nick would be seen as a from a real Nazi's perspective, Nick would be seen as a half-breed, not pure Aryan. Not good. Hey, it's their beliefs, not mine. I'm just letting you know. Nonviolent people, that's a lie. That's an inversion of reality. Leon helped get him back in power. All the people on the right in Congress and the Senate that helped out as well. I'm not saying every single one, but the majority. It was a whole one side of the political movement tried to take over this country forever. No more choice for the people. The whole point of this exercise. And I heard someone say in a movie tonight, or no, in an Art Bell podcast from back in the day. He's not alive anymore. Once again, the age-old attitude, man. And I used to say it too at one point in my life. All politicians are the same. It doesn't matter who's in, it's the same result. Nope. No. Every once in a while, little children, a sociopath is born. I'm not talking about the normal sociopath you work with at your job that makes existence miserable for everyone. Because that has to exist. Everywhere you go, it don't matter what building you work in, son. You all know it too. I don't even know where I was going with that. Incitement to murder, fascist, or Nazi. Fascist or Nazi. If you use those words about the Reich, and again, they're literal Nazis. They're doing, Nazi salutes right in front of us. Behind closed doors, I know they dressing up, they doing salutes, they having ceremonies, doing all kinds of great stuff. But then if you call them a fascist or a Nazi, they get all offended because it gives the game away. They're not offended by being called it. They need you to be afraid to say it, though. Hitler made the world afraid to say shit like that about him. So where does the new Reich want to take it? The same place the old one did. Inversion of reality. If you call evil evil, we're evil. If you call us evil, you're inciting murder. The left labeled Charlie Kirk fascist, and he got shot. The left labeled the National Guard deployments fascist. It wasn't hard to guess what would come next. Can you believe this? This is how shameless the devil is. This is how shameless this whole machine online run by Leon and Vlad and all these just lake fodder motherfuckers. You get the military deployed against you. Your own that you pay for. You pay their salary. And if you call that fascist or you call them fascist, that is wrong. Can you believe you're here? You dead in the middle of the Reich, son. I can't believe how perfect it all is, how perfect it all came true so far, the way I said it would. Like exactly. And these arguments are very weak. They're trying to make an argument out of any of this, but even Charlie Kirk, that wasn't a liberal that shot him. Yet they keep saying it because they're trying to build a Reich. That's it. That's it. Why are they saying what's not true over and over again? Because that's what Adolf did. That's why. And it seems to work on populations, especially when 35% are just straight up evil. I'm hoping that's a high estimate. It's probably not, though. My God, I mean, these arguments are just so disingenuously inversion of reality. It's astounding. I know I've said this a million times. I always wondered, so many people have said what I'm about to say. I always wondered how Nazi Germany actually happened. How did people allow this? Right here. And again, I can't believe we're in the year 2025 and we got geriatric cunts and younger ones doing Nazi salutes and believing in Nazism as a religion. How sad is it that this planet has to go through that again. Even worse this time. You'll see, son. I wish I was wrong. Again, every day I wake up, I just see more that says I'm right. The free speech absolutist from South Africa wants Americans arrested for their free speech. Indeed, and he's just commenting on falsely labeling non-violent people as fascist or Nazi should be treated as incitement to murder. A liberal didn't kill Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk helped build this Reich. Charlie Kirk helped build this MAGA-type thing. Seemed to be doing quite well money-wise, too. Cost him his life. That, solve our problems with guns. Gospel that you all preach. So that's an inversion of reality that, leftists saying Charlie Kirk was fascist. That's all they have to latch on to, too, because the word fascist is the only remotely thing you can tie to liberalism. And here's the problem. It's so sad, I gotta say this. Being anti-fascist isn't a liberal concept. It's just right. You really want a dictator to rule over you? Obviously you do. Why am I asking that question? If you don't want a dictator that's going to gas kill people, open concentration camps, deploy your military against you, have mass goons kidnap people, send them far, far away, murder fishermen on the high seas and laugh about it on camera. Northwestern and White House are close on a deal to end Trump admin's months-long pressure campaign. Under potential terms, Northwestern would pay federal government $75 million. Wow, just going to give $75 million to the government. Tribute to Donnie. I wonder if Hitler did this part, extort the schools for money. I would have to look into that. It's really not that important, though, is it? But now it's happening right now. And this is just, one of 8 million different ways people are just paying straight tribute to Caesar. Have you ever seen anything like this? No, not in this country. Again, before the election, I was yelling, do you want your country to become Russia? Naked, blatant corruption right in your face. 75 million directly to the government. And we know who the government is, right? In Donnie's mind, we know, I've told you. Oh, that's Donnie. That's why his favorite word is tariffs. That's why he talks about tariffs every fucking day. That's why the Supreme Court will be locked the fuck up if they rule against him on that case. They ain't ruling against him. No way. Not his favorite grift. That tells me his hand's directly in that money. And there's a deficit in the Treasury now, so I know what a deficit means. Not what they wanted to. 283 million. Or billion, million. Roughly the cost of the ballroom. Donnie said he wanted anywhere from 250 to 350. 284 falls right in that. Very, interesting number. Interesting. 75 million more in tribute from a college, and other colleges have already given. Yeah, this country's so over. This is Donnie posting about the fucking reflecting pool and changing that. Of course he'll change that with your fucking money. The fuck else would he use? Renovations in the White House. That's what remember he was talking about that 350 he's going to steal, or probably already stole. That he might use some for renovations in the White House. You know what that means? The ballroom, the White House, whatever he wants to do to it. The reflecting pool, your money. It's going to be the world capital someday. Not that many years either. That's what all this is. Hitler did the same thing with Berlin. He tried to. Had the plans drawn up, the ideas rolled out. It's documented. It's known. It ain't a secret. So what was Hitler's ultimate goal, class? Again, to rule the world as world emperor, dictator, whatever you want to call it. So what's Donnie's plan? To rule the world as emperor or dictator or whatever you want to call it. That's simple. Remaking DC in his image. That's what this is about. Just like Adolf was doing and wanted to continue to do, but the war turned. And he died before he could make it happen. Praise Jesus. I saw a clip of Tucker Carlson. My God, people still ask the question if he's a Nazi or a traitor. Two things Carlson loves: Nazi Germany and fucking Soviet Russia. He's the least closest thing to a patriot that's ever walked this fucking dirt we all walk on in this country. He's astounding. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, because I don't have that here. I wasn't going to talk about it. Maybe I'll just let it go. So this is what Leon said a while back, which I already read to you. And then I'll read an old one that directly, proves he's a hypocrite. Again, falsely labeling nonviolent people as fascist or Nazi should be treated as incitement to murder. This is an old post by Leon. It looks like this. And there's always 80 posts by Leon proving his hypocrisy, evil. Far left fascists love censorship. Well, the far left's not really violent. I know you people say that all the time. I just don't see it, though. Every time some fucking cunt said the city's on fire, not even a block was on fire. You know when the guard was necessary? Liars, hypocrites, disingenuous demons. January 6th, when your people staged a coup against this nation that you allege to believe in. I know that's not true now. Because kingship, Caesarship, and I know you don't care about this. You're just lake fodder. I know. All of that, wanting a king, that is the direct opposite of the founders you claim to love so much. I don't love them, but some of their ideas were fascinating because look what was built on it. Because there are periods where it was somewhat fair. Not anymore. That's long over. Oh my God. Everything worth 5 cents land-wise been staked and claimed 1,000 times before you were born, son. Uh, so Leon again proving straight up hypocrisy and proving what he's saying is a performance for an end goal. No sincerity, nothing based in reality in it. But it's fine when he wants to call the left the party of murder. The far left fascists love censorship. No. Back to Leon's free speech absolutism. What Leon means by that, and I'm going to be totally honest, the freedom to say the N-word and preach Nazism in the public town square. That's it. Any other speech he doesn't like, oh, censorship. Take your account down for 2-3 days, laugh at you, joke about you. In other words, this fat welfare queen cunt had to buy a website with Vlad Putin and Puff Daddy and other great people, all destined for the lake. You people crack me up. So he can preach Nazism on our ass. You don't believe me? Look up the phrase Mecha Hitler. That might lead you on a road to many other Nazi-type things a certain AI says every day. And son, I don't know if you know because you're just a child. AI doesn't really exist. It's a computer algorithm. Just in case you didn't know. So, did the AI just all of a sudden say, I want to worship Adolf Hitler when asked who he would worship? In other words, what I'm trying to say is, did the non-existent AI that is naught but some code in a bunch of servers zipping the fuck all over the place? It can't have its own personality. It's got to be given one. It can't have its own beliefs. It's got to be given them. Well, I mean, human beings, 35% worldwide are already at that place. And they don't even have to be replicants or clones or robots to be there. Kind of sad, actually. In other words, Leon had to put the Nazis in the cookie. The cookie can't put it there itself and put itself in the oven. You have to do it. We have the guy that's been caught 3-4 times turning the AI in front of our faces into something worse than Adolf Hitler. And again, we all just go about our day. Every human should be yelling Nazi at that guy. That's how you solve this. Everywhere he goes. For the rest of his fucking life. Why? Because Nazism is about exterminating human beings! I watched for a decade as people tiptoe around this. I watched for 20 years as Alex Jones, Cernovich, all these people, Assange, Russian asset, straight up preaching white supremacy and Nazism. All they need to do is just take out the liberals. And the KGB has a whole bunch of trolls for the idiot Americans. I just vote Republican. I'm a conservative. I like Jesus. Then you vote for the Antichrist. I did not see that irony coming as I imagine this over the decades, because I'm not a young man. Can you believe it again? The church, the overwhelming majority of it, conservative every election, no matter what. I don't care what they tell you when you talk to them on the street. That pattern of stupidity. Because what I've understood as I've watched this all play out for 30 years, the very beginnings of it, you know, Alex Jones, way back when Alex was new. That's how old I am, son. They all helped build this. Alex was the literal enemy the entire time. This was a white supremacist movement the entire time. What is that? Nazism. That's simple. Alex is part of it. He believes it. Cernovich believes it. It's what they are. Son, the man wore a Nazi mustache. And he dared say on camera, and this is after owing $1 billion for defamation, that it was a social experiment. Will you dare say he's not a white supremacist or a Nazi? He wore a Hitler goddamn mustache a month ago? 2? Right when YouTube was trying to, you know, pay more homage to Caesar, conform more to the Reich, and let him come back, Alex decides, yeah, now's a good time to grow a Hitler stash. Fucking psycho! I know cunts out there, disingenuous bots and trolls. I see the comments every once in a while. You think Alex is great. So you must think the Hitler mustache is great. And that whole thing, Nazism. I was thinking about that before I came on. I knew I was going to talk about Alex Jones for a second. And I always check with myself to make sure my facts are right. And if I'm exaggerating, well, let's peruse Alex's behavior. Oh shit, a month ago he had a Hitler stash. Not a Nazi at all. So again, back at the beginning, Cernovich, the Assange gospel, the Pizzagate stuff, Alex Jones, all white supremacists, all Nazis, Assange a Russian asset. That helped get us here. You remember all that? They're just as responsible. Again, this has been an operation against you. Wasn't Alex's dad in the CIA or something like that? You fucking idiots. I guess the CIA's been wanting to go the way of Nazism for a while now. That's a shame. But I could always feel the tinge of Nazism in the right-wing movement. And my God, especially the past 20 years. till it got to its maximum expression. The guy who laid in his bed at night and pulled up a nice, beautiful copy, I'm sure, of Hitler's speeches and dreamed of himself being Hitler and running the world. Do you think I'm kidding? This, holy fuck. A side-by-side Joseph Goebbels and Stephen Miller comparison. I posted it in the post section today. And the audio plays when you go to the page of both of them at the same time. And I've never heard that before. And it's only a short, 10 seconds. And Steve is making some of the same, very similar hand gestures that Goebbels is making. This is what I notice about all of them. They do it just enough to where you can't really say, oh, he's doing a straight up Goebbels impression. It was much more dramatic, even though Steven's being very dramatic in this. A lot like Goebbels. Joseph Goebbels himself and Hitler, that was a performance. That's all that was. You were watching a performance. Donnie Shitbag's a reality TV star. He's a carnival barker. He's a con man. He's a grifter. He's a liar. He's a cheater. He's a murderer. He's everything. So Donnie knew about that aspect, the theatrical aspect, that bread and circus, theatrics that works on rubes, wrestling. And I loved wrestling as a kid, but, I grew up. And it's not real. It's a male soap opera. So Donnie learned from the Third Reich as well, do the theatrics. It doesn't matter if you're of any substance. Whatever gets you in the door so you can steal everything and betray everyone. Adolf's plan, Adolf Hitler, before he made a deal with you, any country, Russia, it didn't matter. He planned on betraying you later, from inception. He just needed to get in the door with you. Donnie, the same thing. Anything to get in the door, get me that grift. Theatrics like Goebbels and Miller. And so sad that it works on so many Americans. Because it's the end of the empire. I'm sorry. Because you chose this. And again, this is an exaggeration. I'm not being dramatic. I'm not making comparisons to Nazism. I'm saying they're actual modern Nazis who literally believe in it. And when you hear the two voices going at the same time and see the hand gesture, it just, son, again, in world, you don't know me. When I say I see the devil all over something, you should take that serious. When I hear the devil all over something, you should take that serious. I don't say that lightly, ever. That's a serious thing to say. You're down with the Reich in any way, you're of the devil right now. You need to end that relationship as soon as possible. If you don't, it will cost you everything. Not by my hand or some person you don't like. By the hand of God. Deadly fucking serious. And for the millionth time, I wouldn't be here. Listen to this. look at it, I don't know how you can't see the devil and hear the devil all over it. And yes, uh, Miller, Donnie, all of them, I figured these are their idols, these Nazi people. You know, the stars of the Nazi party, we all do. And they're doing their impressions. It's astounding. Astoundingly evil. This right here, these two individuals, the same spirit. Both pure evil. And what we're witnessing again is like a musician who does an impression of their favorite musician. Literally reenacting moments. Look again, Donnie's wants to build the arch, literally, that Hitler wanted to build. Donnie wants to build that big ballroom over the bunker, literally like Hitler wanted to build in the capital of the nation state. Same thing. So that means they both want to and wanted to be world leader, world dictator. That is not the slightest joke. Again, and this ain't Alex Jones. This ain't snake oil hour. This ain't defamation hour. It's the exact plan. And boy, they making it happen, son. And you know what I don't really know about? I mean, we all saw Indiana Jones. And we know the Nazis were just utter fucking occultists, and anything they thought would give them the edge. You know, find me the spirit destiny, find me this, find me the fucking, what's that called? The cup. I can't even remember. My brain's not quite back to normal yet. But did Hitler ever focus on the Holy Land, son, so much? Nah, I guess not. Israel didn't become a state till the end, but the Holy Land was still there. That's a key moment in prophecy. Does Israel, exist again? It's still the Holy Land, whether you call it Israel or call it whatever. Do they have their own homeland again? The Jews. Yep, 1945. And again, I told you, many studies that I've listened to, not everyone agrees, but what I know, what they know, I weigh it. Does it sound accurate based on what I know? This one seems to be correct. It feels right. It looks right. That Israel had to become a nation before end times, whatever could even happen. It became a nation in 1945. And in these lessons, again, one of the major points they made was within one earthly generation from Israel being reestablished, the end of all this. A generation again, 70 years, 100 years, 80, I don't know the exact number. Probably under 100. Probably more like something like 70. So those of us lucky enough to be born after 1945, well, we get to have the fun part with the most evil, abominable, despicable demon ever. Tyrant. You name the tyrants, you think of the tyrants. This one will be worse. That's the way he's described. I mean, he'd have to be pretty bad to cause Armageddon, wouldn't he? This is Judge Box of Wine. I need to stop digressing. These guardsmen and all who were here to protect this district are the line that separates a civilized society from a barbaric one. No, the barbaric society deploys its own troops against its own people in tyranny. Again, a straight inversion. There's been 130 murders since he deployed in DC. I mean, most murders would take place, in a fucking alley behind closed doors. You know what I mean? People don't usually do it right out on the fucking street. Usually. So you can have military men walking around. What's it really going to do? That's obviously not the purpose, then, is it? And according to the Reich, they can't even protect themselves. Conveniently. Very special individual. I'm going to get to it. Now, I'm going to translate reality over what this raging alcoholic just said. The guardsmen were not there to protect anyone. They were tyranny against the people, deployed against their own people who pay their shitty fucking salary. That's the raw, naked, blunt truth. I don't care what the right calls it. I don't care what social media calls it. We all know what it is. Let's not pretend, son. And in other words, the barbarism is the dictator deploying your military that you paid for, because that cunt never paid taxes. I don't believe a damn bit of it. So 2 points. The guardsmen weren't there to protect the people. They didn't stop jack shit. It's a build-up for the midterms. It's a build-up for 4 years from now when he gets a foot up the ass. If he's even still alive, I don't know. In D.C., and the mayor of D.C. is... I don't like it at all. That's all I'll say about that person. So the hand of the fascist, hand of the dictator. One has died, one is in very bad condition. That's the truth. About Miss Pirro specifically. And again, people, you may think me harsh, but here's how I look at it. If you are preaching the devil on a minutely basis, then fuck you, and I'll say whatever I want. If you have the right to preach abject inversion and Satan all over the place, then I guess I have the right to critique it with the same level or a better level of ferocity. Shouldn't I? Until you come arrest me for that speech, which is exactly what will happen in the new Reich. Of course. Reichs don't tolerate dissent. Fucking kidding me? You've already got your troops deployed against you. You think there's going to be dissent? And that's going to be allowed in Antichrist dictator land? Oh, son, you got a big surprise coming. So I know what it is. I know that one day, a lot of people could disappear that talk shit. That's what Hitler did. Or just, had you killed. And that's where Donnie's taking it, where he can do shit like that. So a raging alcoholic talking about traitors to their nation who decided it was cool to deploy against their own fellow citizens for nothing. Everybody and their grandma knows deploying the military in areas of the country you just don't like politically, because just like Hitler, you need to lock up the liberals. Ugh. That's all it is. You know, forget everything I say, everyone says before the election even happened, before 2015. This has always been Donnie's plan. He didn't have the sycophants the first time. He staged a coup the first time. He got that off. Walked out with 3,000 documents like, yeah, I'll just take those because I'm a fucking shameless grifter and traitor. And I always have been. The hand of the tyrant and a raging alcoholic and the tyrant itself. Disgusting. This is Kevin Sorbo. I've noticed this talking point going around. Laura Loomer said it the other day. This is how far gone your country is. And a lot of them probably didn't want to say it in the first term, but maybe they did. I kind of remember a lot of that talk then too. That, yeah, we want a dictator. We want a king. We want an emperor. And little children. A real simple lesson. A king is not good for anyone. A dictator is not good for anyone. It leads to tyranny every single time. Trying to rule the entire world, one man, through war, whatever. Yeah, that never ends well for anyone. In fact, a lot of empires, when the fingers reached as far as they could before supply lines and troops ran out and grandiose thinking went ahead of logic, they all thought they could do it. They didn't even come close, and their empires declined right at that moment. The fingers went as far as they could go, and then they start to recede. And then the nation's over. Because you tried to take over the world. Like Napoleon, like Hitler. So Kevin Sorbo, a king doesn't sound so bad. The right-wing machine is starting to say this out loud. The people that people look at on social media. A king is cool in America. Again, those Freemasons that started this country, every single fucking one of them, not one of them was Christian. I'm not talking about the peasants. I'm talking about the Freemason who ran the country from day one. Washington, all those people. Those people that you love so much, Kevin, Donnie, all the fake-ass right-wing machine people that really don't believe in anything, and they prove that by the second. Their literal core idea for this thing, and we all know this isn't big info here. No king. Why? Because they were fleeing a king in England. The whole point of this exercise. We're at the point over 200 years later when this thing was built up bigger and richer than anything's ever been. Now let's go back to a king like in England, to tyranny. That's being preached openly in 2025. Can you believe it? We're in the Enlightened Age, right? That phrase that Miss Pirro used, it reminds me of something. Let's go back to her again. Separates a civilized society from a barbaric one. Son, I can't believe I just remembered this. I think George Bush Sr. said something just like that in his New World Order speech. Because George Bush Sr., who was a Nazi too, ran the CIA for a long time, like lifelong CIA, man. He talked about how the New World Order wouldn't be the rule of the jungle anymore. And he might have used this exact phrase. I can't remember. I got to look it up. But it's this idea. And there's two words used. Jungle and barbaric. What does Miss Pirro? What does George Bush Sr.? What do they mean by that? Jungle and barbaric. I think you know what they mean by that. So for longer than I've realized, I guess, that whole concept of the New World Order, which is old, it's not a new concept. I explained many times. From the beginning of time, we've had man after man try and rule this entire sphere. Do you know how big it is? How insane that desire is. That can only come from the devil, a man who is not Jesus Christ, because he's much more than a man. Actually stands there, looks in the mirror and says, I deserve to run the whole world. No, you deserve to be committed in a padded room for the rest of your sad existence. That's it. I mean, just the insanity. The New World Order concept, I'm starting to believe it has to do with ethnic cleansing. Again, talking about removing darker skinned people, removing Jews, of course. Is that always what it meant? Even though it's not said directly in the speech, some phrase was used, law of the jungle, and he was comparing it. It's like a double kind of phrase, like Pirro did here. A comparison phrase, civilized society from a barbaric one, deploying a nation's own troops against them. Inversion of reality, and that last part again, it so reminds me of George Bush's speech. I got to go back and watch that. You know what's sad? I've had to sit through with you humans talking shit about liberals in the New World Order when your own cunt, George Bush Sr., one of your major cunts, boy, you don't understand how powerful that man was. You don't get it. And what he was into, how do I know? The New World Order speech. If the New World Order was a concept from the beginning of time, a global order of the devil, of course, what else would it be of? Was one of the core tenets of it. No matter the color of the people who were the empire of the day, killing, persecuting, enslaving Jews. When you look at the Bible, they're slaves in Egypt, they're persecuted all over the place. Just horror story after horror story for some reason. From like the beginning of the book. So, maybe the New World Order concept, I'm really starting to believe that it goes back to basically the beginning of time here for us. It was always of the devil. That's why we keep seeing the same pattern repeat over again, because there's something behind it. And the devil, doesn't make you evil. He gives you the option to be, though. I really wonder if that has always been a core tenet of this new glorious utopia, new world order. One more time, since I didn't say what I actually wanted to say, because my mind's at half speed right now. uh, is that concept of going after the Jews and removing them, is that why certain phrases are used? Is that concept extended out even further to people that aren't, light-skinned, white-looking people? Because that's eventually in the modern age where it ended up. You heard me yelling in many videos. Satan attached himself to this white supremacist thing. It's something I realized once I learned about Nazism and Nazi Germany, which as a child going through school, you learn more. Maybe you see a documentary, maybe you see something on public access, because back then, back in the caveman days, there was only like 13 channels on television. And there sure as fuck wasn't no smartphones, son. So you had to watch shit like Channel 12 or Channel 8 in my neck of the woods, which was public access. Maybe you catch a little documentary that might be interesting once in a while, or a piece of news, or a documentary on the Third Reich. Valuable. That movie, V the Final Battle, or that miniseries, whatever, that they aired in the 80s in America, valuable as a historical lesson. They even had Jewish actors in the movie compare what was going on to Nazi Germany. Even though it was a science fiction movie, that's not the point. Valuable. You're not just seeing entertainment, you're getting a piece of history with it that's very vital. And no one obviously can dare say, you people are smart enough not to repeat it. And by you people, you know who I'm talking to. Ta-da, we're right back. 1938, what? 37, 38, 39. 39 was the start of war. Well, Donnie's done all kinds of shit on that front. Wait till the real fun begins, annexing all of Venezuela's oil or something, man. It's going to get ugly. You, again, I didn't say what I wanted to say. I watched all of you out there, and you know who you are. The Alex Jones people, the right-wing people, all of it. Point to the liberals and say, that's the New World Order, that's Satan, blah, blah, fucking blah. Every day you still say it. Meanwhile, you voted for the Antichrist. I'm here to tell you. And it was you the whole time. That's some crazy shit, man. And it's just the straight truth. It ain't because I don't like you, son. When in the fucking 80s, I believe, or was it in the early 90s? I can't remember. George Bush Jr., George Bush Sr. giving the New World Order speech. You people all knew that happened. And you still got on camera and told the lie. Again, Alex's family was in the CIA. So we know what he was. And, Alex, kind of like Donnie, just keeps on surviving. I wonder if I would survive without CIA connections. If I got sued for $1 billion and lost, I wonder if it'd be no big deal and I could still just keep eating and getting fat and buying Rolexes and not paying a dime. I don't think it would go so well for me without the CIA connections. God, I'm wasting too much time on this shit. Kevin Sorbo again and Laura Loomer. I want a king. That's Laura's comment. Kings aren't good. Fascism isn't good. And you know it. You're going along anyway. I suggest you take your name off. Before Thanksgiving, I was sick as hell. I still am kind of sick. Ill. I said I got the Reichstag fire kind of feeling about the shootings. I mentioned the CIA. I mentioned how a patsy works and what type of people they use. I've told you over this 10 years many times, the CIA does this to an asset. First, they use you for what they can use you for. Then they turn you into the enemy of the world, and they use you as a scapegoat and kill you. Saddam Hussein is a perfect example. The CIA had no problem working with Saddam to try and overthrow Iran. No problem. Years later, they go back and say, Saddam's an existential threat to the whole world. We must go to war. He was never an existential threat to the whole world. He was a mini Hitler. His empire was not big enough to do anything. So he don't fit. He doesn't fit the existential threat part to where the world needs to take action. Donnie does. Germany did. So I told you how the patsy thing works. I told you I got that CIA kind of feeling. I had no idea about this man. All I know is 2 people in uniform got shot who decided to be the hand of the Antichrist. Again, that's not an exaggeration. I'm not making a joke of this. Honest to God, blunt, straight up truth. And a guy from Afghanistan who was given asylum by Donnie's people officially this year. That's a bad sign, son. When I'm thinking every time with Donnie and this whole thing, I'm tired of being this right about. I don't want to be this right about it. I mean, exactly what I say. I didn't know this yet. I was sick as hell. What do I read today? Alleged shooter Ramanullah Lakhanwal worked for the CIA in Afghanistan out of Kandahar base, according to CIA Director John Ratcliffe. Multiple sources tell me he was vetted before working with the CIA by the NCTC, counter blah, 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 and the CIA. I am told that Lakhanwal was with the task force in Kandahar during the withdrawal. He was airlifted. I'm not reading this whole thing because the point's up here. Worked for the CIA. What does that really mean? That means you're a CIA asset. What else does that mean? That the CIA eventually is going to turn you into the enemy of the world. Just like they did with Saddam. Just like they did with Oswald. 1 minute an asset. 1 minute They love you. Next minute, you shot the president, son. Let's conveniently have a guy in a trench coat walk in and shoot you while cops have both of your arms. On TV. That's what they do to you, man. The CIA is ruthless. You don't want them fucking with you. He was an asset in class. What did I just teach you? One day you're an asset. The next, you're the enemy of the whole fucking world. That's what they made Saddam Hussein. That's what they made Oswald. That's what they made this guy. Unbelievable. It came true after I said it. The exact information. I didn't have to read it. I didn't have to know it existed. When I saw this today, again, the CIA thing, I said, God damn it, does it have to always come exactly like true as I say it? Before I even have the information? That doesn't bode well for us. It doesn't make me happy or proud or yay. Let me put a crystal ball up and say I'm a psychic or some shit. No, I want to be wrong. For the love of God, I want to be wrong. Because there ain't much to look forward to with this, son. You understand that, right? It just gets uglier and uglier. And everyone with their fingers crossed for 10 years that this guy's going to croak of a heart attack or something. No, never. This will play out. Again, I don't want it to. I don't take pleasure saying that. I'm just trying to give you the legit truth because, we could only have 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 6 years. Again, I thought 3.5. Well, who knows where that 3.5 starts? The peace deal we know he's supposed to renege halfway through that in some way. That peace deal's been made. Oh, this is about the Epstein stuff. FBI's frantic scramble to redact the Jeffrey Epstein files revealed. And of course, Newsom and Rube speak. This is new. This ain't old. I don't think it is. What's the date on this? Not November 25. That article from... I can't see the name of the publication. Did I cut it off? But Gavin's commenting on it. How did I lose where I was? In Rube speak, of course. Or Gavin fan account, whatever. I just have a feeling it's still him and his people doing this. And I like it. Give me more. The three little piggies didn't go to the market. They went down in the basement to erase Prince Porky's name from the Epstein files. Yeah. That's what these two do. And Patel just, the podcaster, Kash Patel. It's not embarrassing at all. Head of the FBI, when we ask, how did this Afghan, when did he come in? Who gave him asylum? Who rubber stamped it? Oh, Miss Noble will answer that. That's what we get from this cunt who flies across the country on your jet. Uses it as his, personal Tesla or something. Oh, man. Yeah, Bundy looks thrilled in this picture. Kosh always looks bug-eyed and fucking ridiculous. Again, these are parodies of human beings from fucking hell. I can't believe these humans exist. Donald Trump, a diaper wearing, orange faced maniac who wants to take over the world? That exists? Obviously it does. It's the end of our world, too. God, that's horrifying. Look at the sample of headlines about the shooter. Only the UK's Guardian notes in the headline that the shooter of the National Guard troops was trained by the CIA. Wonder why US media wants to downplay that. Oh, yeah. That tells me all I need to know. The second I read it. I even said in yesterday's broadcast, and I've said it many times over the years, you don't even have to be CIA to deploy these tactics. Anyone that knows how can. And the next day I read, oh no, he literally worked for the CIA. Oh, so they could have done anything to him. And now it's, documented, known that he's worked with them for years. No wonder he got rubber stamp. Maybe they needed him for something, like I said. And there's more on this. It just gets more suspect and more suspect. This woman is an actor from the show Northern Exposure, Elaine Miles. She was detained by ICE at Redmond bus stop. When she showed them her tribal ID, they told her it was fake. That's the big line they use. You get the question papers, please, as if this is Nazi goddamn Germany. You say, okay, here's my papers. Oh, that's fake. I mean, that's how far these cunts go to get a body now. Because that's all you are to them. You're a body that gets them X amount of dollars that they drop off somewhere. This woman's a Native American. The irony that European people came here, slaughtered the natives in the millions, rendered them almost extinct, some tribes definitely fucking extinct. That wasn't good enough for the sick people in this country. And you know who you are? Now they want to harass them when they're sitting at the bus stop and try and deport them, even after they show you the tribal identification that says they're a Native American, the only real Americans that exist. Because all of our ancestors, no matter what you are other than Native American, they came here on a boat and they slaughtered what was already here. Again, all these years later, this is what you cunts have wrought, as if these people and their ancestors haven't had enough. And I know they're all living such great lives in America here on these reservations. I hear the horror stories, the rape levels, the alcoholism, all of it. Why? Because they get nothing. Abject poverty. There's no hope. There's nothing. Their ancestors were, extincted. Amazing. Can you imagine a Native American person knowing the history of this country, of course, knowing your people are on the verge of extinction thanks to the European man? And in the year of our Lord 2025, you're sitting at a bus stop and some hillbilly asshole fucks or some traitors to their own races come harass you and attempt to deport you with the authority of Caesar. The indignity that woman must have felt in that moment is probably indescribable. And as far as I'm concerned, and I don't really care what anyone thinks about it, The Native Americans are the only legitimate Americans. Everyone else is a, illegal alien from somewhere. They didn't give us permission to come here. They didn't say, yeah, come over, kill us all, and just take everything. Well, that's what happened. And now, because 35% of this world decided, even after Hitler's death, that Nazism is just, it's fucking utopia, man. She has to suffer that indignity after what her people, her ancestors, have suffered. And, a lot of people make the good point of, we do always talk about slavery and how many black men and women died with that and other races and things that happened to them. The Jews, what happened to the Native Americans, son? And they didn't get a nation state. They got worthless desert, dry dirt, nothing. And a little bit of welfare. And no hope. Someone made that point many years ago. I saw it as a young man. That we don't really think about them, do we? And the abject slaughter that took place. And my God, what we see in the movies is nothing compared to the reality of it. It's astounding. This poor woman. It's just, how far gone is your country? That's a good indicator. Peter Thiel is currently backing the first privately developed uranium enrichment facility in the United States that follows directly in the footsteps of his father Klaus, who worked on a secret uranium mine for the apartheid South African government in the 70s, while Peter went to fascist Christian schools and colonized Namibia. I thought it was Nambia. I don't know. Jim Stewartson wrote Namibia. Maybe that's a real place. I don't know. And Jim is not, he is not like a believer in Jesus Christ, so that's why he says fascist Christian schools. I don't believe they taught Christianity over there. What I believe they taught was Nazism. I mean, my God, Leon and Greasy Pete, they walk around with Nazi literal haircuts. I noticed that the second they started doing it. Did you? Years ago. Again, I know exactly what a Nazi haircut looks like. I've seen plenty of Nazi movies, plenty of Nazi documentaries. You got Pete and Leon on national TV with straight, low shave Nazi haircuts. Yeah, I believe Nazism was what's up there because both products of South Africa that we know of the most are just, they want to take the world there, and they are, via your welfare, of course, because they don't have the fucking money. And great, Pete's getting into, uranium mining. That's great. That makes me feel so much better about the direction our country's going, the pollution radioactive pollution that will take place, all that great stuff. And that's from Jim Stewartson, Strange Attractor, the PayPal Mafia. The PayPal Mafia's Manhattan Project. Jesus Christ. That's something he wrote, obviously, and that's an excerpt from it. I guess so. They're not involved with PayPal anymore, Leon or Thales. So. But I get why he calls them the PayPal Mafia. I couldn't believe I've been ill, so I've just been watching random things because I'm bored out of my mind. I usually don't really have any free time, and I watched this documentary on Skinner. And throughout the years, I love the song "Free Bird." I love "Simple Man." They got that band had something, man. Forget about the Confederate flags and all that. Again, when I was a really young man and a child, I didn't understand what that symbol meant. But just the music, there's like 3, 4 songs that I really like by them. And Freebird's an amazing song. And the dudes that sang, they weren't like incredible, operatic, wonderful, amazing singers. They didn't have to be. What they did for that music worked. So I knew there was a crash. I saw something from like 2019 in France or something. And it says Leonard Skinner and it's a live performance. I'm like, what? I thought the dude died and like. So I don't know who I was actually watching from 2019. In other words, which lineup of Skinner it was. It was the real Leonard Skinner. Whatever's up on stage at the point of 2019 that was left, and whoever knew they threw in. So I knew some of them died. I knew there was a tragedy. So I went looking for it again. I could have swore a lot of these guys died. How did they do this? So I watched the little documentary, 15 minutes long. And I remember it being a plane crash. And yes, it was a plane crash, and about 6 people died, including the 2 pilots, but there was like 13 or 14 on board. Anyway, the drummer. Let me just read. This is incredible. Yes, Leonard Skinner drummer Artemis Pyle was shot in the shoulder after surviving the band's 1977 plane crash while seeking help. Pyle stumbled upon a farmer's property. I could shoot him if they're on my lawn. The farmer, seeing Pyle covered in blood and what he perceived as a threat, fired a warning shot that hit Pyle. I don't consider a warning shot something that hits you. I consider a warning shot, it flies by your ear, over your head, or, just away from you, just to let you know you better stop moving. It was nighttime. The dude was bloody and he was mangled. He was seriously injured. He walked away from a plane crash with his serious injuries to a nearby farm, whatever he could get to. And he wasn't fully in his right mind, and he wasn't trying to attack the guy in any way, shape, or form, but I guess he did walk on his property. Me personally, if I live out in the abject fucking country and someone covered in blood in a mangled state comes on my property, my first reaction wouldn't be to cap him in the shoulder. Because what I'd really be thinking is car accident, some type of accident. There's no way for this person to get out here. In other words, I would think the person needed help. And they weren't like in control of their faculties. And there's something you can do. You can circle, you can back away with the gun pointed at them and just keep talking until it makes the right sense. Instead, just fired. Could you imagine? One more time. You go down in a plane crash with your bandmates. You are in fucked up shape. Some of you are dead. You somehow manage the utter will and strength when your body does not want to get to someone's house, and then you get capped in the shoulder. Oh my God. How did he not die? Amazing. That's a detail I never knew about the story. I'm not a huge fan of Skinner, but it's kind of a statement about the world too, and especially America. That mentality. Shoot you if you're on my lawn. That, certain people have. Usually of a certain political persuasion. Shot one of their own people. Skinner. If I was a self-respecting redneck hillbilly, and I shot the drummer of Leonard Skinner after he fucking almost died in a plane crash, I'd feel like shit. That's MAGA people. Before MAGA was a thing. It was called the Confederacy before. Before that, it was called it was called the Third Reich before. Before that, it was called the Confederacy. Literally. And this farmer who, Second Amendment, if you on my lawn, I'm gonna shoot you. Shoots Artemis fucking Pyle of Leonard Skinner. Holy shit, man. Talk about bad fucking... I don't think my brain could get past that for the rest of my life. You mean to tell me, Lord, devil, whoever runs this piece of shit plane of existence we are on, you mean to tell me I get in a plane crash, I almost die, I somehow stumble a couple hundred fucking yards, and then somebody shoots me? Can a motherfucker get a chance? I mean, just surviving that crash alone is astounding that any of them lived. The pilots were abject fucking idiots. They, engine failure, they dumped the fucking fuel. They had no clue what the fuck they're doing. The only thing that did save some of them, but they wouldn't have needed to ditch if they didn't dump the fucking fuel. And I mean, ditch the air. The fact that the fuel was empty when the plane did hit the ground, yeah, it broke up and got fucked up and people died, but it didn't explode because there was no fuel. So their stupidity saved some of the people. If they didn't dump the fuel and had more time to choose a good location, they all would have lived. But the idiot pilots dumped what little fuel they had left to even buy them some time to really line up a good landing. That's an astounding fucking story. And what are the odds of you getting in a plane crash and getting shot in the same day? In MAGA hillbilly country, where are you from? Oof. Amazing story. Oh, another criminal Donnie pardoned for money, I'm sure. Daily they're let out. Because I know you guys are the law and order party, right? Joseph Schwartz was sentenced to 3 years of defrauding the government for $38 million. If I stole 5,000 from a bank, they'd lock my fucking ass up. This guy gets a fucking pardon and gets to get the fuck out? 38 million? He then spent $960,000 on lobbyists that secured a pardon from Trump despite pushback. Oh, no, it wasn't lobbyists. Lobbyists just deliver a message and, maybe an envelope. I guarantee an envelope was exchanged, whatever form that took, crypto, whatever. I saw Eric Trump's crypto mining building too. Monstrosity. Do you know what the amount of power crypto mining uses? We've been wondering why electric's at the point it is. Well, maybe crypto for the past, I don't even know how many years, 30? These crypto mining rigs, I remember researching it many years ago. And every study I looked at, huge amounts of power, heat, I mean, just the setup you had to have. And then the power bill just skyrocketing. Now you're increasing everyone else's costs by needing so much. Eric Trump showed a building the size of like a warehouse. All crypto mining. Can you imagine the power that consumes? The AI data centers. You see where this is going, right? Their utopia sucks up all the resources. And they don't give a fuck. Made me think of Blade Runner 2049. Celebrating the day Americans fed undocumented aliens from Europe. Yep. That's the real story. Again, I'm sorry, it's just the truth. It shouldn't require an apology. Because the Native Americans are the only legit Americans. Wishing you and yours an absolutely magical Thanksgiving. And that's Lakota Man. He is a Native American. And he talks about that issue all the time. Okay, Donnie did a little fucked up press conference today. And Donnie's getting worse. All his press conferences are like sitting down now. He barely moves. So Donnie's declining. And more and more, I always wonder about this. And I've talked about it before. Is he going to be a vegetable and they're going to use AI to represent him? And is that the image they're going to make to the Antichrist? That I read the story, the excerpt from the story. Because he just looks worse and worse. And what they really need out of this, Donald Trump's an old man. He can't, through any logic, the devil, any special thing, any help, he can't live any more than 100. But my God, look how bad he is now. At 100, he'd be fucking, he'd be Quado. I don't fucking know. Honestly, what would I give this person based on their health in a normal era? 4 years of life, maybe? But then again, there's that one aspect, the devil, who gives him the seat, the authority, the power. So devil going to keep this going for the appointed amount of time until God ends it. Trump refuses to directly admit his administration granted the DC shooter asylum and then wraps up the press availability. It's the first clip I saw when I woke up. Or did this come? Well, I slept earlier too. So I'm talking about later in the day. When I saw this, again, I immediately thought to myself, that just told me all I need to know. Donnie didn't walk away from this question. He ran from it. He banged the table. He wanted nothing to do with that question. When they asked if you're going to go see the guard members, oh, I don't know. I didn't think about it. Maybe I will. I don't know. I know why he doesn't want to be there. It's the same reason a rock star's widow didn't want to go to Detroit. Same thing. Wants nothing to do with that question. And it ain't because he's worried about the credit for this asylum granting. What it is he might be responsible for the entire event. Via the guy who worked for the CIA. Who knows what they did to him? We've all seen the movies. We've all read the books. We all know the programs. And a person like me, who recognizes patterns, sees the process play out over and over again. What I tell you, and it's something I learned over many years, the CIA makes you an asset, then they turn you into the enemy of the world. It's pretty much inevitable. The CIA, in large part, is in the using business, molding culture here business. Using assets and that asset when no longer necessary. Not only end them, oftentimes select ones again, turn them into the enemy of mankind. Damn. Donnie wanted nothing to do with that question. And I got like generalities and then I got the context to them. And I told you a long time ago, any context makes Donnie's statements or whatever even worse. Trump brags at length about his golf game during his Thanksgiving call with service members. Oh, I'm sure that's just what they want to hear on Thanksgiving. Him grifting your money at his own golf clubs, that should be spoken by every person in existence as well. That millions of dollars of your money are going straight to his properties, straight to his pocket, which is the literal reason the emoluments clauses were written. Asked if he'll attend the funeral of slain National Guard member from West Virginia, Trump immediately pivots to talking about how popular he is in that state. When Donnie changes the subject, that's often a sign of guilt as well. Changes it to the ballroom sometimes. It's a little child. He thinks most adults fall for that trick. Most adults don't. Adults make a decision to either go along with the lie, the devil, because we all know what it is, or don't go along with the lie and the devil. Only two paths. That's it. So Donnie changes the subject real quick when it comes to visiting the troops you love so much that you deployed against their fellow U.S. citizens. And when they get murdered, you don't even go visit? Well, Biden, I was about to say Biden, but Biden would have never deployed troops against you. But let's say he did. If two of you got shot, he'd at least go visit you. Donnie's like, fuck it. Two more worthy sacrifices or acceptable sacrifices for the grift. Just like on Assassination Day. Acceptable human sacrifices to protect the grift, to regain the grift. Reichstag fire. He meets every other, pretty much comparison or parallel with Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany. Why not that one? We all know where it's going. And it's amazing how evil this thing is. He asks these people to sell their soul for him, which they should never do, by the way. They should have said no. And then when they get killed, visiting them does not even occur to him. In this situation, I have a feeling it's deeper than that. This is Donnie again on Thanksgiving calling a reporter a stupid person. You're a stupid person. Trump lashes out at a reporter who presses him on the fact that the suspected DC shooter was actually thoroughly vetted before he was led in the U.S. from Afghanistan. Again, that's the vagary. I'm going to give you the full context in a minute. Again, you may think I'm harsh or whatever. The way I talk about all this for years, the way I talk about Donnie, do you have a problem with what he says every day? 42 months of abominations and blasphemies. Do you have a problem with that? And Donnie and his Reich and the whole right-wing machine run by Vlad and others and Kevin fucking Sorbo and Loomer. They all love this shit. All right, so now we have the context on that same question. Do you plan to attend Sarah's funeral? I haven't thought about it yet, but it's certainly something I can conceive of. Not do. Conceive of. I know why Donnie would rather walk over hot coals than be at the scene of the crime. I know exactly why. I just can't believe this evil exists. He could care fucking less. In fact, he wants to make sure he's not there. I love West Virginia. You know, I won West Virginia by one of the biggest margins of any president. Changed the subject back to him and his popularity in that state. Right off of her. That's what you sold your soul for, honey. I was thinking about this, and again, you might think this is harsh. I didn't choose that life for her. You're standing before God. Your last act on this earth was to be a troop deployed against your fellow citizens in the capital of your nation at the hands of the Antichrist. Everything I just said right there is 100% true. Is reality. Unfortunately for us. God asks you, what was your last action on earth? You don't answer. What did you do right before you got here? What were you doing? You were the literal hand of the Antichrist deployed against the populace that pay your fucking paycheck. I wouldn't want that to be on my resume as my last act. Because I feel like if that's your last act, the game ended before you had a chance, or before you made the decision to change paths. And there's no more time left. It's game over. I talked about that a long time ago. Don't have this MAGA lies on your lips when you take your last breath. Who had that on their lips when they took their last breath? It came true. It's going to come true for a lot of people, I'm sure. Charlie Kirk. The lies, the MAGA propaganda, the whole machine he was part of. On his lips the minute he got shot and died. No more time. Now you're standing before the man. What were you doing, Charlie, your last moments? What were you doing, Miss Soldier, right before you got here? Again, you were the hand of the Antichrist against my children with a machine gun or a sidearm, whatever. Don't matter to me. What do you do with that if you the man? I don't think there's nothing you can do with that. Charlie Kirk, what do you do with that if you're the man? When the man down here, Charlie, has a MAGA lies on his lips literally the moment he dies. He's doing that. Helping the Antichrist with this gospel of inversion, where fascism's cool and kings are cool and enslaving and persecution of liberals is cool. Charlie was a big part of all that. And his last act on this earth, that MAGA lies on his lips. As the bullet came. Too late. That's the danger, little children. That's why I yelled shit like that into the camera so many times. Why I've said this phrase so many times over the past 10 years. I used to say it a lot more, but then I realized, look, Nick, 35% are just, they ain't gonna make it. They don't want to. Their choice. No one else's. I said, get out of the cult before it's too late. Get out while you still can. I begged people I liked, acquaintances, friends, people online I knew, people on camera, on video. When I used to talk to the audience, I can't do it anymore. I'm too busy. I'd be on here for 6 hours. I'm already on here way too fucking long. Get out of the cult while you still can. It's too late for Charlie. It's too late for the MAGA soldier, deployed against their own people, working literally for the Antichrist. They have to go to that gate with that being the last thing on their resume. They braver than me. I hope what they got down here for it was worth it. Charlie got millions, a few $1,000,000, if I'm not mistaken. He's doing quite well for himself. So Dunny couldn't care less about the fucking funeral. He used the phrase, certainly something I could conceive of. That's conman, grifter, geriatric Antichrist saying, fuck no, I could fucking care less. This is a Reichstag fire. Fuck those idiots. They were sacrifices for Satan and the Reich, baby. That's what he's saying. You just detailed that this suspect was flown in under the Biden administration. Again, more context, and it's always worse. Every damn time. Because I heard so many jerk-offs over the fucking, you need to listen to the whole speech and blah, blah, blah. You think I don't know what context is, Rubes? You voted for the fucking Antichrist, Jeff Epstein's best fucking friend. What the fuck do you know? Because it's going to cost us all everything. You're fucking idiots. You just detailed that this suspect was flown in under the Biden administration. But was he granted asylum under your administration? Oh, when it comes to asylum, when they're flown in, it's very hard to get them out no matter how you want to do it. But we're going to be getting them all out now. Slams table, gets up, end of press conference. That's the first clip I saw. Oh, he wants nothing to do with that question, and I know why. It ain't just being uncomfortable with the idea that they gave him asylum. It's much more than that. Donnie wants to be at distance from that whole thing. Why? Because it was probably staged. He worked for the CIA. I mean, this is such a cheap dime store half-ass novel. All the cliches. Just like the devil. Nothing beautiful, nothing interesting. Just the imp and his little impish shit. All fodder for the lake. Donnie has made an art form of getting judges, the Supreme Court, to say, yeah, grab whoever you want. You can wear a mask. You can mace people. Send them to Uganda. Who the fuck cares? Now, when it comes to this guy, let's hear that again. When it comes to asylum, when they're flown in, it's very hard to get them out, no matter how you want to do it, but we're going to be getting them all out now. Slams table, ends press conference. No trouble getting any other groups out, taking their protective status away. What is different about this gentleman, I wonder? Perhaps, since he was an asset, he was useful to make do something. Unbelievable. After what we've seen with these people and their crooked ass fucking courts, allowing them to remove whoever the fuck they want for whatever reason they want. Kristi Noem ignored a judge's order and sent those Venezuelans in the first place. Straight up criminal. Rulings mean nothing to them, especially that pock-faced cunt. I couldn't believe this. Every random piece of info, because I wasn't looking like all day, just once in a while. I just peruse it. It's Thanksgiving, All of a sudden, the right can't deport people. It's too hard. That's not what we see. Yet it comes to light a CIA asset got granted asylum by the Trump administration here. I don't care when he walked in the country. I care when the country said, oh yeah, you can stay, no problem, cool. CIA asset. It's almost like they wanted him to stay for some reason, huh? So perhaps what's different about this guy is he's a CIA asset that they could use and make do things. Because maybe he a little... And guess what else Donnie said in this press conference? After he ran like a bitch from this question. He was furious. I mean, got up from the table so quick. I never seen him move so fast. That tells me he wants to get away from a crime. Obvious. More context on the calling the reporter Officials say the suspect in the D.C. shooting was vetted and it came up clean. Trump, he went cuckoo. He went nuts. There was no vetting. What did I say yesterday before this? Some crazy guy who believes in nothing. I have no sympathy for him either. He's probably a patsy by CIA tactics or the CIA itself. The next day, oh, he worked for the CIA literally. Oh, shit. They can fuck you up in the head and they can have you doing some things. Do you hear me? We've seen the movies. We've seen the documentaries. We know how they did it. Drugs, all kind of things. Torture that wasn't known. People put in states of unconsciousness, different things. That makes them malleable to use for literal things like Oswald. Sometimes all it takes is being kind to a person that's, not accepted by society and grooming them into what you want them to do. That's all the tactic is. You can take it further, take them away, have them in a room strapped down, drug them up, show them the video, all the, what's that called? Hypnotic and stuff that can enter through the eyes that fucks up your brain. And I'm sure by 2025, 2021, 2019, the CIA had all kind of wonderful techniques and things that we don't even know about yet. That'll come out in another 40 years when it's not relevant anymore. Oh, wait a minute. The world won't last another 40 years. I'm sorry. Not even close. That's a promise. Doesn't mean it's going to explode. It means a lot of things, but never mind. Officials say the suspect in the DC shooting was vetted and it came out clean. He went cuckoo. He went nuts. There was no vetting. Literally what I said yesterday. The guy's crazy. Now, I don't know if Donnie's telling the truth here. But if it was a patsy, I would assume a guy not mentally right in the head, a guy who can't get a girlfriend, a guy that they can mold either by nefarious means, by doing things to them literally in a room behind closed doors to fuck with their mind, or done just by friendship, financing. It could be that simple. For someone, a personality that needs that. That's all they're looking for. Many types of, different types of human beings on this planet. All of us are malleable probably to a certain extent if you dangle the right fruit in front of us. But other people are much weaker minded. And you could get them to do almost anything. Tried and true CIA tactic, and it's looking more and more likely, and even Donnie's saying the guy went crazy. Well, the CIA had no problem working with him. Let's read the rest. Actually, your DOJ IG just reported that there was thorough vetting of Afghans who were brought into the U.S., so why do you blame Biden? Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? You're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. Is this first grade? Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? You're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. No, she's a reporter who's supposed to ask questions. It's her job. On Thanksgiving, we have this. 42 months, abominations, blasphemy, spoken. Again, if you're pointing to a guy that ain't doing that, ain't out front, talking abject shit, then you're pointing to the wrong guy. That's a real requirement. Yeah, he went cuckoo, he went nuts, and that happened to, I'm literally talking yesterday before any of this. Yeah, he's probably some crazy guy who believes in nothing. Donnie's people used him, made him do something. And now they got the Reichstag fire right before Thanksgiving, everyone's going to see how terrible, horrible this guy was who killed my enforcers. deployed against you who pay their salary. I hear CIA. I hear the president saying cuckoo. Well, that's literally what I was saying yesterday before I even knew this information. Interesting. I thought there was one more. Maybe I didn't add it. I think that's it. We should expect more of these moments. Expect the theater over and over again. That's what Adolf and Goebbels did. Theater every single day, different faux outrages, which we've seen the right wing do for many, many years before they hit, peak Nazism, maximum expression of the devil that they always were. But now they have the figurehead. And something I was going to say, I can't remember if I said it or not, for the long term, to make this permanent, again, Donnie's not going to live forever. That's what the AI, I assume, will be for. That's what they're thinking in their mind, the plan. That this is going to be, that Hitler wanted a 1,000-year Reich, so they're at least thinking that. A man can't do that. That his image, though, can symbolize those values and preach them and go forth and preach them. I've heard 2 speeches by Donnie, a hacking expert that worked for the military. She really honestly thinks, and I trust her opinion, she knows shit we wish we knew. But that doesn't make her right about every opinion or whatever. It makes her right about a lot of things. And it sounds legit to me, knowing what I know, from an even crazier perspective. She thinks 2 videos of Donnie giving short speeches with very generic type stuff in it were AI created. And that what you're seeing before you is sometimes only 2 instances so far. Sometimes he's real, sometimes he's not. They do a little test. They're working it out. How do we do this? How do we put a straight up image on TV and people believe it? That it's not AI, it's not this. It's Donnie shitbags. Well, they're going to go full Reich and you better believe it. Or you die. Better bow to it or die. That's where eventually it's going to go. She really believes this, and she ain't some crazy bitch. And again, knowing what I know, yeah, work out the bugs. They want this to be a long-term permanent. They don't want this over in 8 years, 4 years, 10, 20. Forever, baby. Global order. What the devil's been trying to do since the beginning of time. So I'm going to run with her thesis, personally. That 2 videos, now audio and video, were AI generated. Now Donnie's giving speeches, public appearances all the time. So they could put an AI on that and, really become him, because there's so much sample information data to suck in. So it appears they're working out that fucking process already of starting to show us a little AI here and there. Don't get too crazy at first, like Leon just letting the whole cat out of the bag. It's not funny. I have to laugh or I'll cry because this is the death of everything I'm laughing about here, and I don't want to. That's how serious it is. Already, at least two, where it ain't even Donnie no more. You rubes really ushered in this nightmare. Who do you want to be in charge after the Antichrist? Your pedophile messiah, best friends with Jeff Epstein. You looking for Leon? You looking for JD? You looking for Stephen Miller? You like something a little more satanic? Because that's where it's going, with an image of Donald Trump as the image of this movement forever. Will it last forever? Will it last 1,000 years? Will it last 10 years? No. It's their dream, though. They'll try. So me personally, that's all I'm saying. I'm going to run, taking that thesis seriously, that they already showed us a couple AI. And they got to be careful because one day, if they get too overzealous with it, everyone's going to, get caught with their hand in the cookie jar like Leon always is every time he alters Grok into an abject fucking Nazi. Anyway, I got to fucking go. Don't take the mark. Have a wonderful evening. I've been on here way the fuck too long. What the fuck am I doing? Just got over an illness. I'm not even over it. Have a good night.